6 or 7 weeks ago and talked to me about this a couple of years ago, as you mentioned. I was able to learn from you guys, and so I was excited. I was moving around, and so we kind of traded voicemails and traded text messages. And it's interesting some of the things that he wants to convey over the next couple of days while you guys are together, because I think a lot of what you guys are experiencing and where you guys are trying to go is in some ways similar to what we're doing. So I spend an inordinate amount of time trying to learn from other organizations, other businesses on how do we figure this out. And so I think the best way for us to learn together over the next hour is just be as interactive as we can. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not an author. I'm not a podcaster. I don't own a media company. I grew up thinking I was going to work on a ranch. So the best way that I know how to do this is let's just act like we're all on the same team for the next hour, and we'll act like we're having a team meeting. And at a team meeting, you don't have to raise your hand to speak. You just don't speak when somebody else is speaking. And when somebody is speaking, you listen with both eyes. Fair enough? All right. So here's how we're going to start. I think the way that I process this the best is each one of you are problem solvers. And the faster and better you can solve a problem, the more important you are to 44 farmers. And I'm not putting words in Mr. McClendon's mouth, nor do I know the accountant here, but I'm assuming the more important problems you solve, the harder you are to find, the more money you make. But if you're in this room, you are solving some level of problem. And if you are a problem, you won't be in the room this time next year. So, to me, the topic that we're going to talk about is this problem. And how are we going to solve this problem? And the journey that you guys have been on in the last 2 years since I was here, not that I understand anything about the cow business or the genetics or prime pursuits or the meat that's better than prime pursuits that's not in the genetics. I just know bits and pieces like most fans, and you guys know that fans are dangerous because they say and do things that don't make sense. But we're all on the same team, so you guys aren't fans and I'm not fans, but I know bits and pieces of your world. So we're going to start with this riddle, and I know that you can read, but I'm going to read it so that we're efficient with our time. There's 4 prisoners. You can see them there. They're all lined up. There's a wall in between prisoners C and D, and the police put a hat on each of them and explain that there are 2 white hats and 2 black hats amongst the group. They cannot see their own hat. They can't talk, and they can't turn around and look around to see which hat they're wearing. As you can tell from the diagram, prisoner A can see B and C, prisoner B can see C, prisoner C and D cannot see anyone. If any of the prisoners can figure out the color of his own hat in under 30 seconds, they all can go free. After 15 seconds, one of the prisoners blurts out, quote, "I know the color of my hat." Which prisoner says that?
Me.
All right, so I'm just going. The first letter I heard was B. T-shirt salesman from years ago says B. So he was selling those same shirts that you guys are wearing that y'all have on auction day. Why did you say B?
Well, he can see the one that's in front of him, so I would call something said line of play.
So he's saying prisoner B because he can see that prisoner C has on a black hat. Who agrees with prisoner B? All right. Somebody else had a guess?
A.
Yes, sir.
A.
A. Okay. Now, prisoner A is on the highest step, and you chose prisoner A. Why?
He can see the drawing black, white. I'm assuming he's.
Prisoner A can see B, white, can see C, black, and so you believe it's prisoner A, sir, why?
Because he can figure out the pattern.
There is a pattern. A notices that white is right in front of him and black is the step below him. How many of you think it's prisoner A? Would you like to add something, ma'am?
I was just thinking because he has more information than prisoner B does, so you can see one picture.
I'm with James.
Okay, and with James, what would you add to James?
That is because we have, if A could see both B and C and they had the same color hat, then he would know, and he would have spoke up. It wouldn't have taken him 15 seconds. But because it took 15 seconds and A didn't say anything, then B realizes that B does not have the same color as C, so B knows that he has a white hat. She's a doctor.
Did you guys hear most of what she was saying? And how many of you said it was prisoner B? But did a lot of you think it was prisoner A? And ma'am, you thought it was prisoner A in addition to what he said, pattern. And then somebody said he has the most information. Right? Somebody said that. And most of the time, don't you guys think that we tend to make decisions based on who has the most information, who has the best information? And sometimes, just because you have the most information or the best information, it doesn't always necessarily mean that it's the right information relative to the problem you're trying to solve. And you guys remember, before I started, we're trying to solve a problem. We are trying to solve a problem. You guys are trying to solve a problem in the cow business, and I'm trying to solve a problem in the basketball business. But in many respects, our businesses are the same. Remove the cows, remove the balls, but the information and how we process that information and how we make decisions from that information, that's what we're trying to do over the next 53 minutes. You guys write this down as one wrong. Two things I'm going to have to write down if you're going to take notes. The first thing is you cannot solve problems with the same thinking used when they were created. Buzz, it's a riddle. A can see B, A can see C. One's got on a black hat, one's got on a white hat. He's got the most information. He's got the best information. He has more information than any other prisoner. Just, hey, I know what it is. I'm prisoner A. It's 50-50. It's a gamble. But I can see, A can see, well, it's not too white and it wasn't too black, so just pick black or white, yes? But the second level thinking to this is what she was saying. Prisoner B is paying attention. His EQ may be just as high as his IQ. And he deducts. Now, if A can see me, I know he can see who I'm looking at, C, and he hasn't said anything. Well, if he hasn't said anything and I'm looking at black, well, am I white or black? But since he hasn't said anything, that second layer of thinking, you guys follow my train of thought? So here's the next thing I want you to know. The thing with problems, the more you resolve, the more the types of problems you face evolve. I'm not a poet, it just happened to rhyme, so I thought you'd like it. Thanks for complimenting me on that.
The more you resolve.
Yes, sir. The thing with problems, comma, the more you resolve, the more the types of problems you face evolve, comma, and become different. Isn't that what has maybe happened since I was here 2 years ago? I can't articulate it to the specificity of the cow business, but whatever y'all were fighting 2 years ago, that's not what y'all are fighting now. Y'all beat a lot of games, y'all won a lot of games over the last 2 years, and now you're playing a different game. I can't speak to the game that you're playing, but it's not the exact same game, it's not the exact same problem, because the problems that you have resolved, they've evolved into something else. It's like fans. Hey, Coach Boy, that's a heck of a year. Thank you. Y'all gonna be pretty good next year with all the boys coming back. Oh. They're fans. Thank you so much. That's really not what we're fighting, right? It's like somebody saying to you guys, I bought some steaks from Omaha for Christmas from my dad, and then I got y'all from 44 Farms. Y'all so much better. And what you want to say, this is my opinion, not putting words in your mouth as 44 employees, is, yeah, Omaha steaks are trash. We're not trying to beat them. Why are you even talking about 44 Farms in the same sentence as us? Right? But to the casual fan that doesn't know that online services for 44 Farms beef versus Omaha steaks has been around since I was before I was born, I don't know. Yes? Do you guys follow what I'm saying? All right, so you'll like this is another play on words. This is the name of what we're going to talk about. This is the sermon title. Win in success. Win as in time. Win as in the game. How do you win when you're in the midst of being the number one team in the country? Number one team in the country, that's 44 Farms in the beef cow business. You guys are number one. So are you playing the same game that you guys were playing 2 years ago? Well, it's obvious the answer to that question is no. So when Mr. McLaren left the initial voicemail, I got really excited because I'm like, yeah, Mr. McLaren, me and you can get together and have coffee and like just teach me the game that you've been playing. I don't really have to know anything about cows. Just teach it to me. You talk for an hour, and then I'll talk for an hour. And it's going to be the same conversation of we're playing in a different game than the game we were playing. And we've won all of the games on the way here, but now who we're playing against, we're not sure who the opponent is. but we don't want to be content that we beat all of them. We're not saying we're not grateful, Buzz. We're grateful. We're not saying that arrogance is going to overtake our hearts in regards to our success. We know where the success has come from. But now that we're playing in a different game, how do you, in that level of win, how do you win amidst that success? You guys know? Good prelude to the conversation. Everybody understands why it's prisoner to be, right? And everybody understands that your initial response is A, but it's not A. Everybody's with me? All right, next thing. So, I love football way more than basketball. I know way more football coaches than I do basketball coaches. When I can, I spend more time with NFL coaches than any other type of coach. I prefer not to hang around many coaches because coaches, they are always the smartest people in the room, and I don't really like that. But when I can be in an NFL facility, I want to. It's the highest level of leadership in my opinion. And I know less about football than I do about the cow business, which means I know nothing. So this is an example for us, not in the NFL. You guys, we're in the cow business, I'm with you. I only eat 44 farms. You guys are not in the basketball business, that's what I do on my job. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Don't worry about the color code right now. The National Football League. Have you guys ever noticed that you've never heard an employee of the NFL say NFL? You guys ever caught on to that? You've never heard a football coach refer to his employer as the NFL. If you really pay attention, no matter how long the player has played in the NFL, you've never heard a player say NFL. They always say National Football League. Always. We're fans, we call it the NFL. In the National Football League, there's 32 teams. All right, now watch this. Only 14 teams go to the playoffs each year. Not this year, any year. Since 2001, so the last 22 football seasons, of the 14 that go to the playoffs, only 7 go back to the playoffs a second year. So now look at the red, look at the blue, look at the black. So the blue is like a conference. So 7 blues and 7 blacks make out of the 32. You guys with me? That's less than half of the population of NFL teams that make it to the playoffs. Now, that last line, half of those teams go to the playoffs back-to-back years. So 2 seasons ago, Texas A&M went to the NCAA tournament. So we're having our first team meeting last fall. And I did some research, Josh, wherever Josh is running this. And Josh is helping me run it with our team. And our guys think that because we went to the NCAA tournament last year, and all of us are returning, that we're gonna be even better, and we don't have to try to get to the NCAA tournament. Like, they've already sent us the invitation, we're gonna go back again this year. Do you guys know that in the NCAA college basketball tournament, that the percentages are plus or minus 2% off those? Now, that's the most profitable professional sports team in all of the world. And the teams that go to the NCAA tournament in basketball, it was 46%. that go back to back. Now look at back to back in the NFL. Only 7 of those 14 go back 2 years in a row. Last one. Of those 7 who go 2 years in a row, you guys following the math, right? On average, only 4 will go 3 years in a row. So now, I've been doing a little research because I can't say the same thing to our guys like very often. Do you guys know how many coaches Texas A&M basketball has had in 112 years of existence? Just guess. We won't spend much time on it. All right, fair enough. 32 or 10. All right, now let me ask you: 112 years. How many times do you think Texas A&M men's basketball, no matter the size of the NCAA tournament, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in 112 years, how many times has Texas A&M been to the NCAA tournament? 3 years in a row. 1 time. That's why coaches get fired. That's why I'm trying to learn the cow business. Everybody's got to eat. Not everybody eats beef, but a lot of people do. Look at that. Only 4 of the original 32 NFL teams on average go to the playoffs 3 straight seasons. Meaning, of the population, 12.5% of the NFL go 3 years in a row. 112 years of men's basketball at Texas A&M, it's only happened once. So obviously that's an even lower percentage. National Football League, most of us watch after church on Sundays. Pick any 3-year window, and 12% of the population is going to the first round of the playoffs. Not winning. We're not talking about when you get there winning. We're not talking about the title of this speech. We're the #1 beef company in the world. We're not talking about winning when we get there. We're saying only 12% of the population can go 3 times in a row. There has to be a lesson in that. Or 10. How? Multi-billion dollars. They're making more money than 44 Farms, National Football. How? How are these the best players, the best coaches, the best GMs, the best trainers, the best veterinarians, the best grass, the best chefs, the best nutrition, the best strength coach, the best farm, the best tractor, the best genetics, the best analytics, the best what? 12%? How? How does that happen? Who are the leaders? You guys follow me? There has to be something in there for us to learn. Not in the cow business, not in the basketball business. In that, there has to be something. That's why I like coming here. I don't have to come here to hear myself speak. I come here because I'm like, hey, Coach Thomas, tell me what's going on over there. What about the cows over there? And then T-shirt man, Buzz, it's 11,000 acres. Explain some more. I don't understand any of it. I don't want to understand any of it. But I want to hear it because I'm in preschool relative to what you guys do. But if I can learn enough of it, I'll figure out how to translate it back to my life. You can do that in any walk of life. But you have to have those skills on how you think about products. You guys have all seen this. Some of you saw it when you were in high school. Some of you guys saw it when you were in college. Some of you guys saw it when you were spending the weekend with your grandparents. I'm not trying to date any of you, but you'll enjoy this 2-minute clip. 3. All right. What happened in 1 and 2 that got into this point?
There's 1 and 2. You know, one got off of the mat. You know, he hung in there with that. Second one stood up and he got the bell. And the third one was that Clover Lane?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Clover Lane came in. He came in. We got there. He got the song.
What did he say at the end there? He got soft. You guys think that that's what's happening in the NFL? 32 teams. What'd you say, sir? The first thing he got up off the mat, he made the NFL roster. The assistant coach became the head coach. What happened? You said the second time he won the championship? He won it. He went to the playoffs. And now, here comes the new guy, Mr. T, Clever Lane. And now he's wrecking everybody. And his coach, Rocky's coach, is Mickey. And what's Mickey saying has happened to Rocky? He just said that he's gotten soft. You guys, if you've seen Rocky 1 or Rocky 2, he was never wearing a navy suit with a pin under the necktie, which is high level back then, with a limo dropping him off, with Adrian hollering at him coming out of the limo when Adrian used to work at the pet store. You guys remember he would stop by after training. Yes? And what was Mickey saying had happened? He was saying, hey man, you've won 10 games. You've won 10 games. We're picking the games that you're winning. We're picking the teams that you're playing. Yes? But along the way to the championship, that wasn't what happened, right? And Mickey, the coach, says, the worst thing that can happen to you is what? You got civilized. I know that that's probably not a word we would typically use in our locker room, but just from the persona of it all, we go, oh, is civilized bad? Right? But from a competitive standpoint is what he's speaking of, right? Civilized? No, I don't want to hear that. Because really what that means is you got soft. Yes? So we're at Ohio State. It's the first Friday in November. I had never been to Ohio State. I've been a college coach for 30 years. I've never been to Ohio State. I'm not from that part of the country. But I've heard all of the things about Ohio State. I'm excited about this. I can't believe they're playing Texas A&M. I wonder how this worked out. This will be good. It's going to be on TV. Don't know any of those people. They got really good players, really pretty coach, really just everything, just beautiful. I'm talking about like the hotel is connected to the arena. Like you just get off the elevator and just keep walking, and you walk in the arena and you're like, whoa, this ain't Reed Arena. And you can kind of feel it. It's downtown. It's really nice. So we're at shoot around. And our players, they're a lot cooler than I am. I can tell they're sensing the same thing. Like, whoa. Wonder how we got here. There must be some real players here. This is like a real fans go to games. And I can sense it. I haven't even spoke, like we just walked in. But we didn't just walk in, it's connected to the arena. There ain't no bus. You don't have to get on the bus to get to the gym. You're already there. I was like, whew. God, I need something to say right here. This is about to turn south, and we're 7 hours before the game. Hey guys, come here. We don't ever start shooting on that way. Guys, come here. Look around. So I just embellish what I'm seeing them do. And I know we don't know, but there are people that are younger than us and they use their phone and they kind of put it on the internet, so to say. Like they're doing things that we don't understand on apps that we don't have on our phone, but they're communicating in a way that we don't. And I can kind of see it. And I'm like, this is not good. This is soft. This is scared. This is anxious. This is nervous. Guys, right here, let's go. Look. The presence. Look at this. It's unbelievable. Guys, if I could coach here, I'd take the job. If I could get the job at Ohio State, I'd take it. Right now. And if you guys could play here, you'd come here. Say it. This ain't what we do. This is a blessing. We're in the middle. This is the presence. We're right in the middle of the blessing. that how we're gonna handle that? Oh, coach, we're good. No, I can tell. I can tell from your body language. So again, I'm kind of giving you context. Of course, they're not thinking of it like that. And this is what I said to them. I'm going to try to fold it where you can see it, as I said. The presence of the blessing. Yes? Just kind of told you about it. Here's the next part that I said. Does not mean the absence of pressure. Does not mean the absence of pressure. Here's the last part. Or the requirement of production. Isn't that kind of what happens when you win? We all get like Rocky. We all get like Rocky. We get soft. We start picking who we're going to fight. We start picking who we're going to fight. But then when we get in the environment at Ohio State, what's that? What's that?
Excel.
I can tell. That's what I gave you. Look. I have a few more. What size is it? That's what I picked for. What size is that? Sorry, Mr. Blair. Probably can't fit it. I saw your headset, you probably can't fit it. Sorry. Matt. The smallest person here. So anytime we get to talking, and most of the time it's me, anytime we get to talking, and I just happen to say something, it turns into a quote shirt. I use quote shirts to teach lessons from. We do 12 of those a year. We only do quote shirts to try to teach somebody a lesson. On the quote shirt, every year has a theme. And every year, a theme has a logo. Along this same topic of discussion that we're having, this was year 5. You can see the 5 subliminally in the logo / theme. And the theme was action. We need to stop using words and we need to have action. You see the kind of 5 in the middle, kind of quasi, it looks like a camera. And you can see the star, 5 points to a star. And I taught our guys the Hollywood star. And we kind of use our theme, and we kind of use the logo to imprint anything that we do. So those shirts are from year 5, and that was quote shirt number 1, because when I brought them to the huddle at half court, hey guys, man, how blessed are we? We should be unbelievably grateful. We're playing a quad 1 game on the road, week number 1, and hadn't even got to the first weekend. Look at this. Holy smokes. If you guys were good enough, they would have recruited you here. And if I was good enough to coach here, I could have sent my application. None of them called you, and they don't even know my name. What an unbelievable opportunity in front of us. But it's not the absence of the pressure. We can't just want the blessing and not want the pressure. And as you advance, I'm not saying that that's what happened to Rocky, but in that film, that's what happened to Rocky. And I'm not saying that's what happens to NFL teams, and I'm for sure not saying that that's what happens to you. But there was a twinge of softness in our program, subliminally, in an unspoken way. Like, hey, this is not supposed to be harder. We've already done all of the hard stuff. Yeah, but what happens is when you go to the playoffs, all of those teams that didn't go to the playoffs, they're chasing you now. And then when you go the second time, they're like, hey, that's the model 44 farms in the beef industry. They're guys do. I can't explain it. What is the business model? How do you do this? What is this? What is that? How are they making these cows? How are they getting all of that beef into Walmart? They weren't trying to get into Walmart, they were selling it to Ruth Chris. It didn't start as Ruth Chris, I just thought we were just trying to genetically make like the best cow of all time. You see how all of that, to me, in my brain, it's kind of a spin-off. One thing led to another, that led to another, and so along the way of these byproducts, problems occur. But are they really problems? No, they're opportunities. Why are they opportunities? Hey, we were just trying to put the family farm back together, and let's figure out, just like they do for horses, so to say, let's figure out how to make a better cow. That's the way I understand it. And now all of a sudden it's annual meetings, and literally, when Yeager speaks to you guys, he's written more best-selling books than people in this room. Well, how do we get to this point? Right? And some of you, employee number 1, employee number 5, employee 29, the people from Nebraska, the people from Jersey, the people from Amarillo, like, how did this get here? And all of you have a role relative to the problem, but it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. But it's only an opportunity when you realize that with this blessing, there is not an absence of the pressure, nor does it prevent you from the requirement of production. Yes? Because there has to have been some that started with 44 farms that for one reason or another didn't handle their problem-solving skills very well, and they're no longer here. But the grass man, when I talked to him last year, I'm taking notes when he's away from me. Like, I don't know anything about grass. He's not a grass man. I thought he used to work with the football field and the baseball fields. I thought that was with the Astros. What? So you're saying that Mr. McLaren, when he was with the Astros, he was paying attention to how you were fixing the grass so it wouldn't, turn the shade so the sun doesn't hit right here and pull it back, like whatever time, whatever day. Yes? And now you haul hay? You're saying the cows have to eat that? That's a lot of stuff if you're not from here. But if you are from here, you're like, yeah, that's a guy. He's in charge of the grass. You guys ready this? What got you here won't get you there. Don Yeager didn't write that book, but it is a book. It was a poorly written book, but good words. And so now, here's the opportunity. Enough context. Now we're here. We all recognize that we're here. So what do we do? How do we handle it? What got us here won't get us there. And we really don't know where there is, because we had no idea we were going to get here. You guys agree, right? We are not sure, Buzz, where there is. But whatever. 5 years ago, we didn't know where here is. All right, so how do we ascertain? And if you were at church, the pastor would say, how do you discern? Good word, right? How do you discern in your spirit? How do you discern in your words? How do you discern in your thoughts? Where's there? And so everybody's looking at Mr. McLaren. Let's get together for a couple of days. Everybody eat short ribs, the double style beans, and all of the extra stuff that was over there past the potato salad. We'll be in there tomorrow at noon. But between now and then, we got to figure out how to get better. Mr. McLaren, we're going to do exactly what you're asking us to do. We're going to do exactly what you're asking us to do. We're good people. We're grateful you're the leader. We appreciate how you take care of our families. Now, can you tell me exactly on the GPS where we're going? No. All right, well, Mr. McLaren, I'm going to do exactly what you want me to do. I'm going to mow the grass. But exactly where are we going? I don't know. Mr. McLaren, I think it's pretty obvious if we were a public company, we're trading number one in the world. Yeah, I know, we're playing it differently. So you're saying it's bigger than winning? Yes. Oh, okay, well, how do you explain it? Here's the second thing I want you to write down. What was this? I'm sorry. See, like, what got you here won't get you there. I struggle with that. And I don't struggle with that because I'm at Texas A&M. I'm saying this respectfully because I know some of you are from Nebraska. I'm saying this respectfully. I don't care who the AD is. Honestly. And I'm saying this respectfully to those of you that graduated from Texas A&M. It has nothing to do with Texas A&M. And I'm not being ungrateful. What I'm saying though is I feel like I've been blessed. And so there has to be something associated with the blessing that I'm supposed to steward. And that's where I get hung up. So am I trying to steward who my boss is? No, I didn't have anything to do with it. They fired the last guy. Well, the last guy that fired, he didn't hire me either. The guy that hired me left 12 days later. Okay, well, it can't have anything to do with my boss then. Yes? I met somebody yesterday. They said, hey, how long you lived here? I said, I've lived here 5 years. Where are you from? I'm from Texas. Where all have you been? I've been around the world and back. What do you do? Today I'm coaching. Where do you coach? Coach Texas A&M. Where else you coach? You've talked to fans like that before. Like there is no stop to the question. I'm like, I've coached at 9 different places between California and New York. It just happened to be right here right now. And my point is, it's not Texas A&M. It's about stewarding. How am I going to handle the lives that I'm responsible for? Yeah, win a bunch of games, tell them to play hard, tell them to be good kids. I got all that. But kind of like, this is kind of the essence of what I feel as though my spirit says that Mr. McLaren wanted me to talk about, and it's what I struggle with the most. And remember, we're in a team meeting, so you can't use your phone to put on the internet things that I'm about to say. Like, how do we do that, Buzz? How are we going there when we don't know where there is? And so, you guys have heard this before, the framing effect. You guys heard those words before? It's pretty interesting. It happens when I'm doing research on you guys. It happens in your field. You guys have seen that before, right? That's kind of silly to you guys, isn't it? Mr. McLaren, is that silly? And because I don't know, why is that silly, sir?
Well, if you got 80% lean, they're often get that.
Exactly. And then, like, is there such a cow on this farm that is in that mix? That fits that? When 44 Farms sells beef, how lean is it?
We only sell 80/20.
And so does that mean that it is sold with less than 80/20? Somebody else sells it?
No.
You can only buy 80% lean beef, no matter who the manufacturer is. Yes?
From us.
Yes. Not from 44 Farms. Somebody else. How do they sell it?
Most
That-
sell you got 75/25, 85/15, 70/30. You got the other options.
And 44 Farms said, we're only selling it like this, right? See, I didn't know that. And so to your point, kind of the framing effect. So which one is it? Is it 20% fat or is it 80% lean? Yes, it is both. But when you're thinking of something, look at the top button. These shoes are $100. Man, that's expensive. Those shoes on the right. The sale closes in less than 12 hours. They were 180, now they're 100. Do you guys see how they frame the the sell, or is it a sell? To your point, it's both, Buzz. It's $100 for those white shoes. But do you guys understand from maybe an advertising standpoint how it's framed? Half empty, half full. Are you half empty or half full? Is your personality half empty or half full? Are you married? Are you married to a half empty or half full spouse? Okay, and so how would you distinguish to me he's half full and you're both? How would you explain it?
I'm the realist.
You kind of set him straight when he gets out of the line. I'm gonna tell my wife that's what she is when I get home. 1% germs, 99% germ free. Same thing on the yogurt as on the fat. But you guys see how the framing effect, it kind of, like when you walk in the store, it's like, hey man, this is a good deal. They're $80 off. And then you go to the next store and it's the same shoes, and it's still $100 for a pair of shoes. Yes? And I don't know anything about beef, so I didn't know that other people sold like 75, 25, 85, 15. I don't know. Right? But I don't ever go to the grocery store. I haven't been to a grocery store in a long time. But if my wife, for some reason, we're not in College Station, like I like doing normal things. So, you know, like, let's go on vacation. I just want to go on vacation and like, can we go to the mall? Can we go out to eat? What hotel do you want to stay in? You think we can just go shopping? You want to go to the grocery store? Like, I'd never get to do those sorts of things. So, like, we'll go to pick a place, be like, hey, let's go to the grocery store. And my kids are like, Dad, hey, man, we'll go in there and buy whatever you want. Just go in there. I don't ever get to go in the grocery store. But what I'm saying is, if my wife said today when I got home, go to the grocery store, first of all, I don't know where one is, so I need GPS. Which grocery store are you talking about that sells 44 Farms? Because I don't know. And when you go in there, if you're buying 44 Farms beef, there's only one choice. I didn't know. Yes? So if I was at the store, I'm going to buy the one that's 80% lean instead of the one that's 75% lean because I'm going to think, I guess that's better. But it's not because I'm looking at it going down, it's either 25% fat or 20% fat. Yeah, so in this process of what we're trying to do, when we don't know where we're going, how do we go about discerning and ascertaining what is the right direction to go in? Here's the next thing to remember. An expert is a beginner. Who kept beginning. See, I think the biggest obstacle in our way, your way, our way together, and what we're going to do next year on where we're going, I think the biggest obstacle on where we're going next year is what we just did. I think it's what we just did. The biggest obstacle that we face this upcoming year is the obstacle of what we just finished. Because everybody's patting us on the back going, hey, good job. Boy, y'all pretty good. Enjoyed watching y'all beat Nebraska. That's what somebody from here said. Oh, thank you. What I wanted to say is, we haven't won one game in the NCAA tournament. We could have beat Idaho, Alaska, Caribbean, create a state, don't care. But don't want to be disrespectful. You guys follow what I'm saying? But do you guys see how what you did last year may be the biggest obstacle of what you're trying to do this year? So I'm at this NFL facility, and the reason I'm at the NFL facility is I had a walk-on. And he was in his senior year, and it was my first year coaching there. And he comes in, and he says, this is January, he goes, hey coach, I don't want to graduate. I've never had a player say he doesn't want to graduate. Now, some of them won't say they do want to graduate, but they've never said they don't want to. It's a walk-on. He goes, hey, coach, I don't want to graduate. And I go, well, aren't you a senior? I've only been there a few months. It's my first year. It's his first year, but it's his last year. You guys follow me, he's a senior. I go, what do you mean? He goes, coach, I don't know what I want to do, so I don't want to graduate. And I'm like, hey man, are your folks paying you to go to school? Yes, sir. Well, have you told them this? No. Well, look, man, I don't know your mom. Is it your mom and dad? Well, they're divorced, and he starts explaining everything. I go, hey man, you can handle it however you want. I paid my way to college, and so I was trying to get the fastest degree I could, and I didn't care what the name of the degree was. I need to hurry up and get out of here because I'm paying for it. And now you're telling me you don't want to graduate because you don't know what you're going to do. So you're like, I'm just going to extend my time in college. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Long story short, I tell him he's got to start reading one book a week if he's going to stay with me. I read one book a week. I've been doing that for a long time. So I said, hey, whatever book I'm reading, you're going to read. In that day, in that meeting, I go, hey man, I ain't got time to go to the bookstore. Pick one of these books. He picks SEAL Team 6. I don't know if you guys know much about it. This guy, 6 months later, is in the Navy, and 9 months later, he is beginning the process of Navy SEAL. I don't know anything about Navy SEALs, but I learned a lot from him. He was one of 9 in the country that from the time they started, he was one of 9 in the United States that became a Navy SEAL on time. He graduated on time. So I go to Coronado. You guys ever been out there? I've never been. It's the most fascinating place. God lives right above it. Wherever heaven is, it's right above Coronado. I'm talking about it's unbelievable. They're giving them a trident. That's what you get when you graduate as a Navy SEAL. You know, my daughter graduated from college and they wear those hats and they turn the tassel one way or another. They put this pin on him. He's one of 9. They're on the beach. Coronado is on the beach. The Pacific Ocean's right there. They're in the sand. And Mr. McLaren of the Navy is sticking the trident on him. And I'm like, whew, this is unbelievable. I'm standing in the stand right there. Wow. The graduation ceremony's over. I walk over to him. I go, hey, Will, what'd you learn? He goes, Coach, this changed my life. I go, I guess so. 8 but 9 of you made it. How many of you started? Oh, Coach, like 300 or something. Where'd them other guys go? Coach, they got sent home. So I finished at the graduation day, and I know the football coach of the San Diego Chargers. He's from Salina, Texas. Salina, Texas, a little small town. They've won more state championships in high school football in the state of Texas than any other town. The head coach is from Salina, but I'm real close with the defensive coordinator. The football quarterback for the San Diego Chargers at that time, his name is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is a believer. Phillip Rivers has so many kids he can open up an orphanage. Phillip Rivers has the most unique story of all time, in my opinion, as a quarterback. It ain't supposed to be any good in regards to how long he lasted and how good he was. So I leave this is an unbelievable day. It's like my 3rd favorite day, other than married and when my kids were born. Go over there to the practice, talking to the coaches. This is cool. We're going to spend the night. And here comes Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is country, like country. Realize, how can we possibly have drafted the best quarterback ever to play in the 6th round? Something about our process is wrong. Look at this picture. Who's that guy? It does kind of look like one. Who is it? Dave Stouchesky. He was the 5th round pick of the New England Patriots. He was drafted before Tom Brady. You guys are all familiar with him, right? I know that all of He had 1 catch for 5 yards. That's the guy that was drafted 30. The guy they drafted 169. He caught 1 ball. Not for them. He caught 1 ball. Scott Pioli was the general manager of the Patriots at that time. And he has that picture on his desk. Because he uses it as an opportunity to reframe his brain on where we're going. I don't have a GPS, but I know this process was broke. And they completely re-engineered their process on how they select guys, on how they scout guys, on how they go about their interviews, on the entire organization. And in many respects, you have to agree that probably because of pick 199, I understand, you understand, he's one of the best ever. But because they re-engineered, because they failed in that choice, in how they reframed it, all of the drafts going forward are what complemented Tom Brady along the success that he had. Bill Belichick becomes the 2nd all-time winningest coach ever behind Don Shula. I think he's 15 wins shy of Don Shula. But what was an awful pick in some respects, at the same exact time was a great pick. And they reframed as an organization. We're not taking the eye candy or the Twitter follows or the claps or the pats on our back. We drafted Brady. The organization said, hey, something is wrong with our system. We have to figure out how this doesn't happen again. We have to be more accountable. Hell, the guy that we picked around before, he didn't even make it through training camp. How can we learn from that? Yes? So, this is what I'm trying to do. And I have, like if I explain to you, I'm not talking about the coach, I'm talking about the system part. See, winners and losers, they both have the same goal. Omaha Steaks, they got the same goal y'all got. Want to sell more hamburgers. Yeah, but Omaha Steaks doesn't understand the game that they're playing. And so goals, this is my opinion, when you're trying to win in success, goals is not the answer. Hey, last year we did X, Y, Z. In 2023 we did X, Y, Z. All right, hey, Bob, what are we trying to do this year, coach? A, B, C. It's too shallow when you're leading people. It's too shallow. A goal, there's nothing wrong with it. A goal, though, is just trying to establish where's the goalpost. And then when you achieve it, like you have continued to achieve it, just keep moving the goalpost. Yeah, but when you're leading elite level people, goals are like, okay, so Mr. McClain, you're just saying do more? Is that what you're saying? Because last year we came in here and it was X, Y, Z, and now we're back again, and it's ABC. Are you saying next year it's going to be D, E, F? That's boring to me, and I know that's not what he's doing. But like even with our kids, they had sorry if this is inappropriate, they have some attention problems. But they don't have attention problems worse than I do. And that's why I can't stand here. We gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving. So for our guys are like, hey, I gotta keep up, I gotta keep you up. Yeah, you better keep up. You better keep up or you're gonna be able to bust home. See, that's not a goal. And so you gotta constantly figure out to focus on systems, not goals. And that's what you guys have here, is a system. And so you're constantly, how can we make our system more efficient? How can we make our system more effective? We know that the goal is just a byproduct of the system. Yes, is Tom Brady the best ever? Yeah, we could talk about it. But really, it was the re-engineering of the draft process, that system, that is what led to it now being what it has become up until a year ago. Right there. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. What we figure out in this season of success is we got to continue to identify the right habits that we have every day individually as problem solvers, but also collectively. Yes? All right, so what's this podcast? I'm not saying you listen to it. I'm not saying that I listen to it. What I'm saying is isn't that was from 2024. Isn't that the same clip we watched from 2000 in Rocky 3? Didn't that guy just say, you're better when you have to do hard things? And isn't that what Mickey was telling Sylvester Stallone? And that's what you said, right? He just got soft. Yes? You guys have heard of the word time discounting? Yes? Anybody? All right, so write this down real fast. Time discounting. Act like it's a vocabulary word. Just underline it and then put a little dash like you're in third grade. Time discounting. The perception of value. The perception of value goes down. The perception of value goes down the more we project into the future. So watch. Whatever this kind of graph is, I didn't go to UTA like Mr. McLaren, so Mr. McLaren knows the type of graph this is. This is value. This is time. And time discounting means this. Here's the graph. That's what time discounting would mean. Is that the higher in value it is, when it just happens, is worth more than the longer time is that elapses. You guys follow me? We're still talking about excellence and we're talking about daily habits. You guys follow what time discounting means? All right, so now I'm going to show you what it really is. All right, so watch. Draw a circle, and then draw another circle. And in the left circle, write present self. And in the right circle, write future self. So we're talking about time discounting. One of those is going to pay. One of those has to pay. So, talking about time discounting, would you rather your present self pay or your future self pay? Future. Okay. Would you rather your present self pay or your future self pay? Good. Now, do you guys understand time discounting? Most of us, it's just human nature. When you have success, what happens? You exhale. Hey, we won. We're the champs. We're rocking. We ain't got to fight all those hard people anymore. We just had to fight all those hard people on the way to the championship. But once we win the championship, we buy custom-made suits and we roll around on a limo. And then Mickey has to tell us, hey man, I'm out. Because you're about to beat that guy and he's going to beat you to tomorrow. Oh. So, to your point, bad question on my part. You have to figure out, is this something I want to pay for now because of where I'm trying to go? Similar to what's happening to 44 Farms, right? If I would have came here 2 years ago and said, hey, look, I don't know nothing about the cow business, but I talked to the best cow person ever of all time, and they said, this is where you're going, and I'll see you in 2 years, and this is going to be your numbers, you'd be like, that's impossible. We can't do that. And now here we are 2 years later, and those numbers are the actual numbers, and this is your actual record, and you're like, hey, now where are we going to be, Buzz? You going to come back in 2 years? No, never coming back again. But 2 years from now, when we do it again, if I did come back in 2 years, and I told you today, hey, this is where we're going, you'd be like, Buzz, I don't know if we can get quite there. Because what I've learned is as we climb this mountain, the oxygen changes. When we were down at the bottom of the mountain, like it was hard, but we were still hungry. Here we go, let's go. But now we're kind of at the top. Everybody's looking at us. We are the team that has been to the NFL playoff 3 years in a row. Like there's only 7% of us left. We're on the top of the mountain fighting the company. Oh, we are the company. So you're saying all of those people that are now climbing the mountain, they have watched your recipe on how you climb a mountain. And they're paying attention to every tweet you send out and every package you sell that's 80-20. I promise you, there's not many people that are not selling 80-20 anymore. You know why? Because they're like, hey man, they're doing it. We ain't got no shot. We can't be 75-25. Buzz would never buy it if you ever go to the grocery store because he's going to see it's 80-20. Because he doesn't know the framing of that. So in time discounting, do you want your present self to pay for it, as she mentioned? Do you want to eat the cake today? Do you want to go to bed on time today? Or do you want to stay up all night and then your future self tomorrow pays for it? Does that make sense? So, present self. When your present self pays it, that's discipline. When your future self pays it, that's regret. You guys have heard that before. The pain of discipline, the pain of regret. That's just kind of more of a visual for you to understand. And now, we're going to reframe that, and I'm almost done. So I'm going to give you one more. Now draw 3 circles instead of 2. Because this is really the game we're playing now. If we were, this company is future self. If this company was present self, this company would have already went out of business. It's too hard to do what you guys have done. It takes too much human capital. It takes too much literal capital to do what you've done. If this company was present self, it would have went bankrupt a long time ago. Okay, so we're past that buzz. We're on to future self. Yep. So we have to figure out and accept it. Now we begin. How do we figure it out? Okay, so now it's 3 circles instead of 2. Because the other companies, they're just playing with 2 circles. We're going to play with 3. So here's what you're going to write in the 3 circles. The one on the far left, 10 minutes. The one in the middle, 10 months. The one on the far right, 10 years. See, we can't have any bias based on our previous success. We can't allow in our decision making, we can't allow what we've done in the past or what the competition is doing. It has to be on our future self. So now it's the same principle. 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years. Now I ask you again, which circle you want? One of them has to pay. Which circle do you want to pay? Absolutely. Why? Yeah, because what we're trying to do is establish, I'm saying this in the right tone of voice. Mr. McLaren is not going to be the boss here 49 years from now. When are you guys up? Oh, who's that? Coach Thomas is not going to be working at 44 Farms 31 years from now. Are you replacing Coach Thomas? I don't know. Who's replacing Mr. McLaren? I don't know. Nobody's thinking about that in here. In my opinion. You guys with me? Because everything's good. Yeah, and so to your point, I want to pay right now in the 10 minutes, guys. I don't want to eat the cake right now. I don't have to have the cake. That away in 10 years. In 10 years, I'll be 61. I won't be coaching in 10 years. I'll eat a piece of cake then. But right now, nah, there's too many people that I'm telling, hey man, you need to get in better shape. You need to get a little stronger. You need to play a little harder. Well, if I am eating cake every day, I don't look like the example to follow. I understand they can run faster. I understand they can jump higher. I understand they can shoot it better. But if when they look at me, do my words and my life match up, And now I'm saying to you guys, look what Mr. McLaren you created, the presence of the blessing. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thanks for the wisdom. But now I'm going, no, somebody not named Mr. McLaren is going to be running this business in 30 years. Why? Because there's too many families at stake. And so now if we all process like, oh, so you're saying there's some level of legacy on this? You're saying this is bigger and better than the shirts that we're wearing and the hats that we're wearing? Yeah, so we don't need to be thinking about 10 minutes. We need to be making good decisions and excellence in our habits for 10 years. Yes? Write this down. The most powerful form of leadership is self-leadership. Now, example is not the main thing in influencing others. Example is not the main thing in influencing others. It is the only thing. So, I wasn't trying to twist you up or make you feel emotional relative to Mr. McLaren, the coach. Those are the only two people in here I really know. What I'm saying though is when you reframe it and you start thinking of it like that, everything changes. You guys, Mr. Yeager, I mentioned he's going to talk at some point. Unbelievable wordsmith. He's like, he's a craftsman when it comes to words. Words written, words spoken, and he's made a life out of words. There's another author, he's been on his podcast before, I would assume, and they probably like written books together. His name is John Gordon. And John Gordon, you guys have probably heard of him. He's my friend, and he writes this book with this other guy, and this other guy went to prison. It's like a crazy story. And I know John, but I've got to know the other guy, and they wrote this book together. It's called The Coffee Bean. Some of you guys have read it. It's like, it's like what you would read to your 5th grade son at night. Great book. And here's what it's saying. Who in here is a carrot? You put that carrot in boiling water, and what happens to it, sir? What happens to the carrot when you put it in boiling water? It gets soft. You put the egg in boiling water, and what happens to the egg? It gets hard. When you put the coffee bean in the boiling water, what happens? You get coffee. And how does it become coffee? It liquefies. And that's what 44 Farms is trying to do. We're past the carrot stage. Nobody in here is a carrot. If you were a carrot, you'd already been kicked out. None of you in here are eggs. Because if you were a hard head, Mr. McLaren would have already fired you. You're already a great teammate. We don't have to talk about being a great teammate. We don't have to talk about your character like Joe Rogan was. Joe Rogan saying your character, it's every day, it's like cardio. We don't have to talk about that at 44 Farms. We've already passed that. We're on to the far circle. We're on to the future self. We're on to the 10 years. What we're trying to figure out is how to be a coffee bean. Because his example, instead of him saying it, if he lives it, it actually influences him. Because he doesn't have to say it. He's watching it. Yes? And then it liquefies. So is he the coffee? Are you the coffee? Are you the coffee? Are you the coffee? No, we're all the coffee. Because we liquefy. We're not soft. We're not hard. We liquefy. And since we don't know where we're going, literally, we're all just trying to be figurative coffee to one another. Because when we liquefy, we can pour into a cup. We can pour it into a thermos. I can pour you a cup. You want a drink? You want a cup? And now all of a sudden we can all share. And now the legacy that you're creating, it's kind of like Phil Knight. He's my friend, and Phil Knight said, I love shoes. I love anything. It's my only hobby. I like clothes. Single parent mom, just me and her. Gotta pick out some clothes every day before school starts. Hey mom, is this okay? You gotta keep wearing that to school tomorrow. So like that's the only thing I know. And so I'm talking to Mr. Knight one day and he goes, but we ain't selling shoes, man. Really? He owns Nike. He's Mr. McLaren of Nike. Buzz. Quit saying that, man. We ain't selling shoes. yes, sir. So I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I just said, yes, sir. I seen the next day, I'm like, Mr. Knight, why'd you say you're selling shoes? What? Shoes is just a product. What matters is the people. Oh, thanks for teaching me. 44 Farms is not about the beef, in my opinion. I'm buying the beef because of what I think Mr. McLaren. Is it any good? I don't know. Omaha Steaks is trash, is what Coach Thomas said. I don't know. I ain't buying Omaha Steaks. I'm buying 44 Farms. Why am I buying 44 Farms, Mr. McLaren? But what if you're Mr. McLaren? What if you're Coach Thomas? And you're 35, 38. Coach is 66. You guys follow me? Now all of a sudden, when we start liquefying, we're not soft, we're not hard. Now we start thinking of where we're going in a completely different way because we're working to help one another. Thank you guys for your time.